Hello and welcome, Lynx here, and welcome to Unnatural Urges. Technically we finished the game, but Epilogue. Let's check it out. Wakabayashi Cannon was bored. It had been almost a fortnight since she'd last seen Rinka, and she could not help but worry about her friend, and about Masaomi too. The last time she had visited the Haruna household, Masaomi hadn't been feeling particularly well. He'd been suffering from a nasty cough, and had been feeling too feeble to keep an eye on both Rinka, who didn't need that much supervision, and Canon, who did. Canon had wanted to linger longer to show Rinka some of the interesting beetles she managed to find in the forest around the shrine, but she possessed just enough self-awareness to know that her company wasn't wanted. Masaomi was getting on in years, and he needed to rest. Canon had kept away from the Haruna household since then, both out of the concern for Masaomi and a more selfish, self-interested worry for herself. Canon didn't know exactly what it was that Masaomi was suffering from, but she hadn't wanted to risk catching it herself. His cough really had seemed nasty. Canon was afraid if she contracted a similar chest infection, all the coughing would wrap her throat red raw. Then she wouldn't be able to sing reverse rainbow songs anymore, and that really would be a tragedy. Canon didn't want her dreams of being an idol to be wrenched out of her hands, even if Misa did delight in saying that her younger sister singing sounded like a cat being stepped on when she sang. Oof. Of course, Canon was still worried about Rinka, and she was even worried about Masaomi, but she hoped everything would be alright. Masaomi had been unwell, that much was inarguable, but he had only been suffering from a cold. Surely it couldn't have been that bad? Well, Canon supposed she would be able to find it out for herself soon enough. She didn't even know when she would next be able to sneak out. Her mother had been giving her endless tasks lately, but when she did, she would make sure to buy Rinka some more dango from Mrs. Mochizuki. That should cheer her up, if nothing else. For the present, however, Canon needed to keep her mother happy. Her mother hadn't been at all happy when Canon had crept out of the house last summer to play with Rinka in the garden. Canon hadn't told her mother where she'd gone. She wasn't stupid, but her lack of response had made her mother even angrier. Taking her silence for insolence, her mother had grounded Canon for a whole month. Wow, she hadn't been able to see Rinka for the rest of the summer, and it had worn away at her. Canon was no longer in disgrace, but she fancied her mother had been keeping a closer eye on her than usual. She barely had any time to herself anymore, it was so stifling! Canon was feeling rather hard done by as she stood outside the shrine, sweeping at a few loose leaves with her broom. Her mother had tasked her to clean the outside of the shrine, and that was what she was going to do. She didn't want to give her mother reason enough to scold her again, but goodness, it was so tedious! Canon gnashed at the leaves half-heartedly, her thoughts on Rinka and Masaomi when...
Excuse me, this is the Wakabayashi shrine, right?
Ha! Canon blinked. She'd been so focused on sweeping that she failed to hear the sound of approaching footsteps up the stairs which led to the secluded shrine. The voice sounded familiar. Canon immediately recognized it. Was it really Rinka? Canon lifted her head, shielding her eyes from the sun's rays which filtered down from overhead. The clouds overhead shifted as Canon moved, sending a shaft of light downwards like some sort of spear. The sunlight was unexpectedly bright, and Canon winced. For a few minutes her vision went wide. So did mine. The sunlight eventually waned, however, and when it did, Canon gasped. She dropped the simple bamboo rush she had been clutching, which hit the ground with a clatter. The girl standing in front of her might have sounded like Rinka, but she didn't look like her. Not really. Her hair, which had been a beautiful flowing gold, was now as dark as Canon's own. No, even darker actually, it was black, just like squid ink. The eyes framed by this dark hair, meanwhile, were not red like spider lilacs, but dark brown. The girl wore one of the kimonos Canon had seen Rinka wear, but she didn't pull it down self-consciously about her clothes like Rinka had. There was no need, this girl didn't have any clothes. She didn't have any horns. She looked utterly normal from tip to toe. So unremarkable, Canon wouldn't have looked twice at her if she had seen her walking down the street. Just who was this girl? Canon approached Rinka, if indeed surely was Rinka, with some trepidation stepping over her fallen broom. Damn, it was her. I mean, it's the same hair dye that she used and so on. And again, same kimono, yeah. Canon halted in front of the girl and peered into her eyes. Then she pressed her palms against the girl's cheeks, feeling them as if to check whether she was a real person made of flesh and blood or a mirage. When Rinka didn't waver, however, Canon swallowed.
Oh, you really are her, aren't you?
Canon looked at Rinka searchingly, her palms still cupping her cheeks. For a few moments, Rinka said nothing. She held Canon's gaze, her eyes a little too wide, looking unsure of herself, horribly uncertain. Until a brief pause, she nodded.
You are.
Another nod.
No, wait, why do you look so different now? What happened to you? Where's Mr. Haruna?
Rinka inhaled, her breath seeming to catch in her throat as if it were something spiky. She winced. Moisture began to bed in her eyes. Then, with a wet, whimpering sob, she began to cry. So it worked. Oh, okay, credits, let's have a look. It only makes sense. Ebi-hime, obviously, like the writing programming here. Character art, Saitoki, background art, Edwator, just doing my thing. GUI, Sky to Blue for you, okay. Music, Amaka music. I have no clue what's written here, I'm sorry. Noru, Shimtun, and Yuhikumatsu, with thanks to Dova Syndrome. Free Sound Pond 5. SFX. Additional trans from Kia, proofreading of Peter09 Zealand, created for Ocean Jam 24 and Blossom Jam 24. Huh. Rain Pie, of course. Gallery. Notes. Yeah, let's read notes as well. Why wouldn't we? Hello everybody, and thank you for reading Unnatural Urges. I hope you enjoyed it. Yes. Is the story all that enjoyable, given how dark the ending is? Yes. Well, in any case, I hope it was an interesting story. Absolutely yes. Now, as I do with all my VNs, I'll write a few notes about what inspired me to write this, and some of my feelings about how it turned out. I don't remember if that's true. Maybe it is. For I write a lot of grim, dark stories myself. Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of cute, wholesome stories myself. Especially stories where older characters take care of children. Be it their own or other people's for a variety of reasons. Makes sense. I'm very fond of the anime Usagi Drop. I actually have not watched it. The manga not so much. I actually think I know why. I haven't read it, but I think I know why. And consider it one of my favorites. As such, I'm always down for writing cute surrogate parent-child relationships, as can be seen in one of my earlier VNs, The Language of Love. I didn't play that one, I believe. I clicked and... okay, the browser is opening. Oh, it's on Steam. Okay, yeah, so I didn't play it, that's true. I would not be able to tell you at this moment if I have this game for. I think there is a chance I do, but I'm not sure. That itch, that yaw, and that rabbit hole. Unnatural Urge is a little similar to that, for Masaomi is a good deal older than the male lead from The Language of Love, and the young girl Rinka is a demon. Yeah. And Oni, that's true. I wanted to write a story about an older man taking in an inhuman child for one. It was one of those ideas I jotted down in my ideas document, but I never got around to doing anything with it. I thought about writing a story where an inventor literally creates their own robot child. Damn. To be fair, there is something in a way similar. except for the fact that a person programs like an AI, and that AI somehow eventually orders parts and basically makes herself a body. Carpe diem, basically. But yeah, that idea kind of, kind of similar is already there in a way. I also like the Kagamine Rin song Kokoro. It was one of my favorite vocalized songs when I was younger, mostly for the bittersweet ending. Makes sense. And a story where an elderly man who lives in the mountains winds up taking in a fox girl he finds collapsed in the forest. I mean, fox girls, my probably favorite type of, girl with kind of animal parts in a way. But I eventually settled on writing a story with a demon girl instead. For maybe Oni girl is more accurate. Yeah, to be fair, that's what I used in titles for videos as well. I've written a few more stories with demon girls before, like Strawberry Vinegar, which... Did I play it? Yes, I did play it, now I remember. I see it. Wait. No, I didn't. I played something super similar for... What was that exactly? There has been so many games that I might be... I definitely... Oh, it was... Was it that? The Sad Story of Emmeline Burns? Kind of similar arts, I would say, so it might be that, yeah. That is on my mind. But I think Strawberry Vinegar might be another one of those games that I have in my library already. And my lovely Dovey Demon. Okay, I think this was released recently, wasn't it? Yeah, in January. So that one I have not played. For sure. But with Unnatural Urges, I specifically wanted the demon girl to be based in Japanese mythology. I've grown fond of Oni characters after playing too much of FGO. Oh, so Shoot and Doji, I'm guessing. I've been quite enamored by Shoot and Doji. There we go. And Ibaraki Doji. So that's where Rinka came from. Man. I love Fate. But also, I'm kind of glad I've never gotten into the game. I bet if it was on PC, I would. But even the fact that it's a mobile game, well, I'm able to avoid those, basically. I have some installed. I think I have Fate installed, actually, but I've never even started it. It's funny enough. Games. Yep, Fate. Fate Go. Have it installed. Haven't played it at all. I absolutely love the universe form. And if they made Fate, yeah, like Genshin, I would so be playing that day and night. That's for sure. That's for sure. Anyway, Rinka's design actually borrows quite heavily from Ibaraki Doji in FGO, with the shape of her horns and her red claws. The blonde hair and the sharp pointed teeth, meanwhile, were influenced by Power from Chainsaw Man. You know what? I actually was thinking that she's sort of similar to Power. Power! For I do wonder whether Rin from Usagi Drop also played a part in me giving her blonde hair. I might have subconsciously named Rinka after Rin too, now that I come to think about it. Rinka. Okay. In that case, I had the idea for the story percolating in my brain for a while, but I wasn't sure I'd have an opportunity to sit down and write it. Not until I saw that Osan Jam was a thing. I figured it'd be fun to make this story an actuality for Osan Jam, and I thought it'd be a good fit given the main character, Masaomi, is an older man. I saw an opportunity to tell this story and I seized it. Okay, Unnatural is mostly cute and sweet since I want to focus on Masaomi looking after Rinka. Yeah, but the beginning and the end are quite dark. Yeah, kind of, yeah. I mean, also, technically, Masaomi's past is rather dark, you could say, as well. I did this in part because cannibalism as a metaphor for love is quite popular lately. Is it? It's in vogue, as the kids might say, and it's also something I doubled with myself when I wrote my other Yurivian. It gets so lonely here. Okay, I don't recognize this title, actually. Steam? No, it's on each. Oh, wait, I think I have this downloaded, actually. PC work faster. Yes, thank you for opening 20 folders now. No, I actually don't. Is it my desk on my desktop? That's weird. Okay. If I don't have it on my hard disk and I don't have on my desktop, it must be on Steam as well, right? Is it on Steam? Yes, it is. That explains a lot. That is also my way to kind of size down on each.io games. I check if it's on Steam, and I download it there. Lonely features as cannibalism, scene... Oh, sorry. Lonely, so as in it gets so lonely here. Lonely features a cannibalism scene, which is supposed to be analogous for obsessive, unhealthy romantic love. Okay. Well, it is a yandere story. Okay. But I thought it'd be fun to try and approach the same theme from a different angle. I started to wonder what a story would be like which used cannibalism as a metaphor for selfless familial love instead of something romantic/sexual, and how that would play out. The scene of Masaomi offering himself up to Rinka therefore is based around the idea of parents sacrificing themselves for their children, and I wanted it to feel bittersweet rather than disturbing. Alright. I mean, in a way makes sense. I kind of wonder if what Masaomi said during like the last conversation with Rinka was true to what you can find technically in Japanese folklore, so that Onis can really become human when they eat human heart. I'm curious if that is actually a thing. Might be for, I guess. So I guess it probably was inspired indirectly by the Senkokuru after all. Haha. Another inspiration behind Unnatural Edges was the VN A Bad Faith by Mado. Alright. I'm going on the research mode right now as well. Basically, we are spending more time on the notes than on an epilogue, by the way. Bad Faith by Mado. Another one that is on Steam. I honestly don't recognize it. Oh, February 22. I don't recognize this game, to be honest. I might have somehow not seen it before or something. The story isn't particularly similar, but there was one scene I thought was very striking. Right, I guess maybe spoiler alert. I can't really say which because it's a spoiler. Oh, come on! You could spoil me, I would forget. So I based one of the conflict in Unnatural Urges on that. I based one of the conflict. I wonder if it was the conflict between Masaomi and his mate? I mean, that kind of like, to me, looked like the biggest conflict over here. Anyway, I like writing visceral scenes quite a lot. It's fun to describe blood and entrails and all of that good stuff. So in the first draft of the story, the gore was a little too gory. Hit us with it. Now I'm curious. I thought I'd over-describe things in a way which was antithetical to my original intent, so I wound up toning things down quite a bit. Dude, now I'm curious. I also went back and added a few extra scenes from Rinka's perspective. Yeah, since in the initial draft, the only scene from Rinka's point of view was the ending, where she eats Masaomi. Alright, I guess those additions good thing, yeah. I thought giving a bit more insight to Rinka and Masaomi's day-to-day life and Rinka's perspective on it would make the ending hit a little harder. I mean, hard to tell if it hits harder than if they weren't there, but still. Having more scenes? Always a plus over here. Plus, I really wanted to write a scene where Rinka gets huffy because Masaomi beats her at Go. Hello, whale! Oh, yeah. The story felt a little unbalanced originally, with the beginning and the end being quite fleshed out, but the middle feeling a bit aimless and empty, so I hope I was able to smooth out the pacing to something that works. It does work. Oh, and because I have an abysmal grasp on mathematics, I screw up the timeline a little in the original draft. I knew it. I had a feeling about that. I wrote the story like it was taking place in the 1950s or something and didn't mention electricity or modern technology. It wasn't until I was editing that I realized if I wanted things to work, the story would actually have to be set in the early 1970s. So, that means fridges are commonplace, Masaomi can indeed have a rice cooker in the kitchen, can watch TV and be into idol groups. Yeah, you did mess up with the CDs for... Because I did research that. Right? We checked the CD invention. And we did find out that the commercial release of a CD was in 1982. And CDs were mentioned in the game. Don't worry about it, Fo. Don't worry. It happens to all of us. I think some of these dates made the setting feel a bit more lively, and it was fun making canon and idol fun. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. A shrine maiden being into idols. Now that I think about it, it'd be fun to make canon and idol herself in the future. I think she has the personality for it. I mean, yeah, she kind of does. She kinda does. Now getting ideas. Maybe I'll add an extra scene to this story a little later down the line for my own amusement. In any case, I hope you had a good time with this story. I enjoyed writing it, even if I found it a little tricky to nail the atmosphere and I had some problems with the pacing and the time period. Ebi. I mean, it's a freaking good game. Do I need to say more? It's a freaking good game. Definitely heartbreaking how she was basically hushed away by everyone in the village. Then again, I mean, older generations kind of not surprised if someone was basically also raised in a way that the older generation was. Also not surprising that they would hush someone away basically. Or more like turn their backs on that being. Also on the person who was taking care of that being. So, Masaomi as well over here, just as on Rinka. It's a nice thing that canon has arrived as well, and she was like the type of person that basically even if she does things that are kind of required of her by parents and so on, she's a little bit of a rebel. So like she also wants to live the way she wants to live basically, right? I wonder how exactly things would be in a way as well if canon has not arrived there, right? In a way, at least, in a way, even after, well, I guess we can say her father's death, Rinka will not stay alone. So that's a plus. Still a loss for, obviously, of someone she loved. And someone who loved her. A daughter he never had, and a father she might have never had before as well, right? Curious relationship overall. Overall, love the story. Ebi-hime delivering another absolute banger over here. Anywho, link to the game in description as always, right? Go to itch. You can check other games as well if you go to the developer's profile. There is a ton of games there. There is a ton of games, by the way, guys. And not guys. How many games are there, by the way? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Okay, 31. 31 games. And let's see. Technically, I do believe out of those, only 2 are free, included Unnatural Urges. But if you did decide to dig a little further, there is like a category for free VNs. So over here you have quite a few again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 16, 18, I believe, unless my maths went south. And there is also some Yuri, some BL if someone is into that. Read these together. Ooh. Interesting. Oh, Sweetest Monster. That's the one where the sequel, I believe, was not allowed to Steam, right? Oh, Steam. How could you? Alright. Let's end it for today, because why not? The epilogue and the notes took a little longer than I expected, but it's fine. Absolutely fine. Anywho, hope you enjoyed the whole series. The usual, consider liking, subscribing, and so on if you haven't already. Go play ebi-hime's games on Itch, on Steam. Can you find them anywhere else? I wonder. Maybe. But I think like Itch and Steam still will be basically the places you go to for games. That's my opinion, at least. With that being said, let's end it. And tomorrow, next game, which I think I already know what is. Surprisingly enough. Surprisingly enough, I might know. Yeah. Have a good one. Bye-bye.